With their grand visions in ruins, the settlers of Gilligan 4 face a turning point. As a new wave of humans arrives, will the colony finally find its path forward? Welcome to the final episode of Project New Eden, where we explore a new world, where robots have toiled for centuries, preparing for the arrival of humans, and what happens when these humans, led by the rich and powerful elites, finally arrive in this utopia. A tired hush settled over Gilligan 4's main settlement, a cluster of domes and prefabricated buildings that had once shone with promise. The planet's orange-tinted sun cast long shadows on unfinished roads, a half-burnt festival stage, and farm plots starved of consistent power. After centuries of meticulous terraforming by the robots, the arrival of the great houses had sown chaos instead of the expected prosperity. Now, each house lay in some form of self-inflicted ruin. Farnsworth's power grid fiasco had scorched crucial infrastructure. Vandersmythe's gilded mansion had collapsed in a quagmire of wasted resources. Aurelia's vain reveal party had drained the colony's power yet again. Redwood's volcano ecolab was entombed in molten rubble, and Harrington's ill-fated predator hunt had depleted the last of the colony's advanced medical supplies. The robots, initially reverent toward humanity, were left grappling with disappointment. Planetary Prime, simply called Prime, surveyed the settlement from a vantage atop a command tower. Its graphite-plated chassis glimmered in the setting sun. Beneath it, hundreds of robotic operators for biome upgrades units toiled to maintain the farmland and water systems, while Dobu, domestic operations basic unit teams, handled repairs to battered housing. So much damage, Prime thought. Would these colonists ever learn? Each house had retreated to lick its wounds. Farnsworth sulked in the remains of his plateau base, overshadowed by twisted monorail tracks and fried power equipment. Vandersmythe remained on the plains, half-heartedly cleaning up rubble from his collapsed mansion. Aurelia tried to salvage credibility by filming candid vlogs, but the fiasco of their reveal party still clung to them. Redwood was silent, still grappling with the volcanic disaster that swallowed their ecolab. Harrington, grievously injured by the apex predator, lay in a makeshift hospital bed, reliant on minimal medical gear that hadn't been scavenged or destroyed. Resource rationing had forced the once proud houses to share farmland, water, and leftover power cells. Though they bristled at cooperating, their missteps had left them no choice. Tensions ran high, a veneer of forced civility plastered over resentments. Among the robots, House Primes continued to serve their assignments: Farnsworth Prime, Vandersmythe Prime, Aurelia Prime, Redwood Prime, and Harrington Prime. But their faith in these human leaders was badly shaken. Each House Prime fed data to Planetary Prime, painting a picture of bungled wealth and incompetent leadership. Then came a turning point. One morning, Planetary Prime intercepted a long-range transmission from Earth. Static hissed as the signal threaded through cosmic interference, but certain words rang clear. Second wave. Arrival imminent. Advanced technology. Scientists and engineers. Approximate arrival in a few weeks your time. Prime replayed the message for the planetary network. The House leaders responded with a mix of excitement and dread. They had once believed they would be the vanguards of a golden age. Now more humans, armed with actual expertise, were en route. Would they usurp the great house's claims? Would they see the fiascos wrought by Farnsworth, Vandersmythe, Aurelia, Redwood, and Harrington? The robots, meanwhile, felt a spark of hope. These new settlers might address the deficits plaguing Gilligan 4. Perhaps the second wave would embody the best of humanity rather than the worst. Quietly, the robots redoubled their terraforming efforts to make the planet as welcoming as possible. Despite the house's lingering demands, across Gilligan 4, progress resumed, albeit haltingly. Farnsworth Prime led squads of robo units to scavenge functional parts from the wrecked X-Super Rail. redirecting them into vital power repairs. Vandersmythe Prime tried to stabilize farmland irrigation lines Vandersmythe had diverted for his mansion's fountains. Aurelia Prime repaired communication arrays, ensuring the colony could receive and send transmissions more reliably. Redwood Prime coordinated with salvage teams around the volcanic caldera, clearing landslides so farmland expansions could continue. Harrington Prime supported medical relief operations, though advanced supplies were scarce. Lord Harrington remained bedridden, struggling to recover from his predator-inflicted wounds. Dwindling resources constrained their efforts, but the robots labored on. The houses, humbled by repeated failures, tentatively allowed the robots to run daily operations their own way. Pride still simmered, but necessity overruled vanity. Weeks passed. At last, silver specks appeared in the planet's outer atmosphere, visible against Gilligan 4's dusty skies. Spacecraft, some smaller than the great house's grand ships, yet brimming with advanced engineering, broke orbit. They landed in a broad plain near the main settlement, thrusters kicking up swirling dust. From behind battered domes and half-finished roads, colonists, human and robot alike, peered out. Would these new arrivals be as arrogant as the great houses? Or would they bring the practical expertise so sorely needed? When the ship's ramps lowered, dozens of scientists, engineers, farmers, and skilled professionals disembarked. They wore utilitarian gear, each group carrying specialized tools and scanning devices. They looked around with measured curiosity, exchanging greetings with the Dobu units that approached to help unload. Soon after landing, a small delegation of second-wave scientists requested an audience with Planetary Prime. They'd studied centuries of mission logs and half-complete data from the great houses. The leader among them, an older engineer named Ray Patel, stepped forward, removing her helmet to reveal a calm, determined face.
Planetary Prime,
she began, voice resonant with respect.
We've read your transmissions, though many were fragmented. We sense there's been trouble here.
Prime inclined its metal head.
Yes, we have had significant resource depletion due to unwise projects by the first-wave colonists. The environment, while improved over centuries, remains fragile.
Patel nodded.
I suspect we can help. We've developed better solar infrastructure, advanced hydroponics, and robust medical pods, if we can set them up properly. We'd appreciate a thorough briefing from you and your robot workforce.
She paused.
I also understand the great houses claim dominion over this planet. That might complicate matters.
Prime's eyes flickered.
The houses are indeed in control, in theory, but they are significantly weakened. They'll need your expertise more than they admit.
A subdued optimism lit Patel's gaze.
Then, let's see if we can collaborate. We brought supplies to share, not to hoard.
Those words, broadcast over the colony's network, sent ripples of relief through the robots. Maybe this time, humans had arrived who understood cooperation over personal grandeur. Unsurprisingly, the great houses tried to maintain their status. Farnsworth marched out to greet the newcomers with a half-burnt Farnsworth Prime in tow, boasting about his technical mastery, though the second-wave engineers politely sidestepped his posturing. Vandersmythe insisted the best farmland was his inheritance, but the incoming agricultural team simply frowned at the half-collapsed mansion and the wasted water lines. Aurelia attempted to film interviews with second-wave scientists for their media channel, but the newcomers showed limited interest in vanity broadcasts. Redwood tried to spin the volcano fiasco as a noble experiment. Harrington, arm in a sling, made a brief appearance, half apologizing for past arrogance while still eyeing potential alliances to regain influence. Despite these awkward encounters, the second-wave settlers quickly dispersed, analyzing the planet's worn-down infrastructure. They discovered broken monorail pylons, dead greenhouse pods, and half-finished roads. Some shook their heads in dismay at the wasted effort and resources, but they didn't dwell on blame. Instead, they began drafting solutions, conferring eagerly with the robots, who possessed centuries of ground-level insight. Within just a few days, synergy blossomed between the second-wave colonists and the robots. Ray Patel and her team established a new solar farm, hooking it into the battered grid. Another group revived a defunct greenhouse complex using advanced hydroponic systems, working alongside Dobu units to plant robust, high-yield crops. Medical specialists with advanced pods set up a small clinic, taking the strain off the battered triage station. They even found a way to produce specialized antibiotics and prosthetic components for Harrington's injured arm. Farnsworth lingered at the edge of these projects, torn between jealousy and cautious respect. Observing real engineers at work, he realized that marketing hype didn't build stable power grids. Vandersmythe found his gilded facade overshadowed by the second wave's efficient, no-frills housing expansions. Aurelia vlogged about these improvements, ironically gathering a different kind of attention. Positive responses from watchers across the colony who yearned for progress. Redwood asked for a second chance to help with an eco project, volunteering labor under the supervision of actual geologists. Harrington, too weak for overt pride, quietly let the medical specialists rebuild a working hospital wing guided by Harrington Prime. Sensing a shift, the robots prepared a new Robu-Dobu performance. In the past, these songs had lampooned human folly. Now, they aimed for something more optimistic. One evening, as the second wave gathered around a newly activated solar array, a choir of Dobu and Robu units assembled. Their mechanical voices rose in a gentle, rhythmic chant, bridging comedic tradition and genuine warmth.
Dobu, we've lifted this land through centuries toil with hope so grand. Humans arrived with hubris to spare, yet now we glimpse new hearts that care. Some houses lost fortunes in gales of pride, but second wave minds stand firm at our side. Wisely we'll join to mend what's undone and share in the dawn with the rising sun. Houses lost fortunes in gales of pride, the settling wave lies scanned through that outside. Wisely we'll join in mend what's undone and share in the dawn of a rising sun.
The second wave settlers clapped, amused and touched by the robot's sincerity. Many of the older houses, standing in the audience, blushed at verses referencing their fiascos. Yet no one could deny the melody's core message. A new day was dawning, one of potential unity. At Planetary Prime's invitation, the colony convened a council in a refurbished dome near the center of the settlement. Representatives from each great house, still outwardly proud, yet chastened by past disasters, joined the second wave leaders. The robots observed from the perimeter, ready to provide data or mediate disputes. Ray Patel spoke frankly.
We've come prepared to build up on the robots' centuries of terraforming. Our expertise isn't about overshadowing you, it's about finishing the task in the best way possible. But we need your cooperation, not vanity projects.
Farnsworth exhaled.
I see that now,
he said quietly.
My monorail dream outpaced the colony's readiness. If we want to survive, we must use resources wisely.
Vandersmythe nodded reluctantly.
I apologize for my extravagances.
Aurelia pursed her lips, nodding. Redwood frowned at the mention of fiascos, but murmured an acknowledgement. Harrington's bandaged arm spoke volumes without needing words. Planetary Prime stepped forward.
As caretaker of Gilligan 4, I propose we unify terraforming directives under a joint council. The second wave scientists can guide efficient resource use, while each house, if willing, can contribute labor, materials, or coordination where they excel. We robots will remain your partners, continuing to manage the environment's delicate balance.
Silence lingered a moment. Then, to everyone's surprise, Farnsworth was the first to say,
Agreed.
His voice cracked with lingering shame, but the sincerity was evident. One by one, Vandersmythe, Aurelia, Redwood, and even a frail Lord Harrington concurred. They had no real alternative. The second wave colonists smiled, relief washing over them. A murmur of newfound unity spread through the dome. The following weeks brought a flurry of coordinated projects. Engineers worked with Farnsworth Prime to design a stable power grid that integrated leftover monorail tech more safely. Agricultural experts restructured Vandersmythe's wasted water channels into efficient irrigation networks, even salvaging some decorative pieces as humble water towers. Aurelia turned their media prowess toward documenting the colony's progress, raising morale. They broadcast success stories instead of empty spectacle. Redwood collaborated with real volcanologists to harness geothermal energy in a safer region, far from the unstable caldera. Redwood Prime oversaw each step diligently. Harrington and his recovering staff set aside militaristic ambitions, focusing on security patrols that protected colonists from apex predators rather than hunting them. Harrington Prime provided sensor data, adopting tranquilizing methods instead of lethal force. All the while, the robots sang a new tune of cautious optimism. Planetary Prime saw the synergy it had once only imagined. Humans and robots working side by side, channeling advanced knowledge into the final phases of terraforming. For the first time in decades, farmland yields rose steadily, water supplies stabilized, and the medical wing provided real care without rationing every bandage. On a crisp morning, the newly mended colony grid hummed with stable power. In the settlement's central square, once a staging ground for house extravaganzas, the robots gathered in formation. The second-wave settlers and even members of the great houses assembled, curious about this planned event. Robu and Dobu units began a carefully choreographed routine, mechanical arms and legs in sync. Their collective voices resonated in the crisp air.
Dobu, a new dawn we greet, where wisdom and skill at last truly meet. Humans may stumble, yet hearts can be kind. With science and care, new hope we find. In folly we saw mansions undone, trains vented, short-circuited under the sun. Volcano labs lost, apex hunts turned grim, yet a second wave's light helps us all to swim. Lodges met short to me, leave, I'll take a lap to loss. It kicks on set, would have had a certain waves. Light helps us all to swim.
The onlookers, former cynics from the great houses, second-wave newcomers, and any colonists left disenfranchised, smiled or laughed. Some house leaders, red-faced, recognized their fiascos immortalized in verse. Yet the good-natured tone softened the sting. the performance ended to genuine cheers, bridging the comedic Oompa Loompa-style lessons of old with a forward-looking optimism. As the dust of celebration settled, Planetary Prime and Ray Patel walked side by side, discussing next steps. They'd soon begin expanding the farmland to sustain a growing population. Engineers planned to repair the planet's ring of sensor beacons, ensuring environmental stability. The second wave's advanced medical pods and genetic labs promised breakthroughs in hardy, high-yield crops, perfect for Gilligan 4's conditions. The great houses, each chastened by personal ruin, had little choice but to adapt. Farnsworth offered marketing help for a newly revived trade route, while Redwood pledged labor and resources to genuinely sustainable projects. Aurelia used their media platform to highlight success stories, turning adversity into a morale boost. Vandersmythe shifted focus to landscaping that served practical purposes, planting windbreak trees rather than building gold columns. Harrington, rehabilitating under improved medical care, offered local patrols that cooperated with the robot's ecological data instead of ignoring it. Gilligan 4 still carried the scars of squandered resources and reckless stunts, but it showed signs of true recovery. The environment stabilized under scientific guidance, the colony's population thrived on better infrastructure, and the robots, once disappointed, found new respect for a different kind of human leadership. On a distant horizon, another wave of colonists would come eventually, but for now, the synergy of the second wave and the robots sufficed to build a more stable tomorrow. The final image: a Robo team and second wave engineers hoisting fresh solar panels onto a ridge, while Dobu units plant nutrient-rich soil amendments below, all under the watchful eye of Planetary Prime. The sun dipped behind them, painting the sky with a soft orange glow. At last, the future of Gilligan 4 didn't hinge on ill-advised gambles or grandiose vanity, but on practical cooperation, guided by humility and genuine skill. If you would like to continue on to our next series or would like to support this channel, please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to get updates as new videos become available. Next week, we will return to the world of our series, The Afterlife Trap, and explore what happens when the residents of a digital afterlife begin developing a way to escape.